Hello everyone, I'm Reena Augustine. You're watching Community Impact. My guest today wears a lot of feathers in her hat. A Brisbane Women in Business Awards Awardee of Merit 2017, Property Council of Australia 500 Women in Property 2018, acknowledgement by the Premier of the Queensland, the Honorary Anastasia Palaszczuk MP during Queensland Women's Week 2018, Real Estate Business Awards Innovator of the Year finalist 2018, Real Estate Businesswomen in Real Estate Awards Young Leader of the Year finalist 2019. She is the Secretary for the Queensland Multicultural Council 2020. Please welcome Dr. Diaswati Mardiasmo, who is the Chief Economist of PRD Real Estate. Hello, Asti.
Hello, Reena. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming here. Definitely going to be a wonderful experience for all the viewers because you came to Australia from Indonesia.
Yes. So I was born in Indonesia. 14th of September 1984, and I came to Australia in 2002, October 2002. So this coming October will be exactly 18 years that I have lived in Australia.
18 years.
That's literally half of my life.
That is half of your life. What made you come to Australia?
Look, I have had a very, very interesting background growing up. I haven't always lived in Indonesia. In fact, up until when I came to Australia, I only lived in Indonesia for about 9 years throughout my primary school. My father is a professor at university, and so we spent a good portion of my childhood in Connecticut, New York, USA, when he was doing his MBA. And then after that, we came back to Indonesia, and then we moved to Birmingham in the United Kingdom for about 4.5 years, where he did his PhD. And then we came back to Indonesia, and I finished my high school years. And I think just because with all of those experiences of being exposed to Western societies and ways of thinking, I really wanted to expand my wings, you know. I felt that I've experienced education in the US, I've experienced education in Indonesia, in the UK, where else can I go? And at the time, funnily, the reason why I ended up in Brisbane was because my mom and dad were like, okay, so Australia is the closest country to Indonesia that is Anglo-Saxon. And we actually have a family friend who was doing their PhD at UQ. And because we're close friends, that meant that I could have a friend when I'm here. I could go home to their house on the weekends. There's someone that they could trust. And then so I applied to QUT, Queensland University of Technology. And this is quite interesting. I was rejected.
Oh.
Yes, wow. I was rejected.
What was the reason?
Well, at the time, I didn't have enough credits to enter straight away their bachelor program. So I had to think. I was like, how am I going to do this, you know? And then so we rerouted and we went through Queensland Institute of Business and Technology, which is QIBT, part of Griffith University. And I was able to enter the diploma of commerce. And what happened was, once you've done your diploma, that's equivalent to the first year of university. And so, you know, that's kind of one of the lessons as well, is that my first choice was to go straight into a bachelor program, but I didn't make it. And so I rerouted and went through the diploma way, and then I transferred to QUT.
Okay, so you always wanted to study in QUT?
It wasn't always just QUT, but, you know, obviously you always look at different universities, right? But QUT was definitely something that I wanted because it had both economics and international business together. And it wasn't more about like what school or what university, it was more about the program that was offered. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted economics and international business.
And that's what your career you are pursuing in it?
Well, this is another thing that is different again. So that was my first bachelor. So I did my bachelor in economics and international business. And I was very, very blessed in the sense that I got a scholarship for my honors degree. And interestingly, I then changed paths. So instead of going straight to my honors, I decided to join an kind of like an alumni group called ISEC. And I was deployed to a management training all the way to Ottawa in Canada for 6 months. And then so I postponed my honors. I accepted it, but postponed it. And when I came back from Ottawa, I came back to QUT. I had my real world experience, 6 months in Canada, which was amazing. And then I came back to QUT. And I thought to myself, okay, so an honors is actually a research, master's, but only in Australia and in the UK. It's not actually considered a master's postgraduate degree in a lot of other countries. So I changed my path again. Instead of doing an honors, I switched to a research master's. Now, a research master's meant that I did have to write a thesis and things like that. And it meant that I had to spend an extra 6 months at uni. But that means that whatever degree I came out with, it was a postgraduate degree in the whole world, not just in 2 countries.
Wow.
And so it was a very strategic move.
Yes,
it
a
meant
very
that
good choice.
it meant that I had to stay in school a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it also meant that I had a postgraduate degree that was recognized worldwide. Mm-hmm. And then again, I was blessed. I received a full scholarship to continue on for my PhD. And, I actually almost failed my PhD. In the first year, you have to actually do what they call a confirmation. And a confirmation basically means that you present your PhD idea, where you want it to go, the methodology, what was going to be the significance and things like that. And I didn't make the first cut, so I had to do a review and redo quite a lot of things. Didn't make the second cut, and I thought, okay, what do I do? How can I make this work? And then I sort of went, okay, so from my master's to my PhD, I sort of lost track of what I was actually passionate about, because yes, I got onto the track of a PhD and I have my scholarship, but it wasn't really in an area that I was 100% invested in and passionate about. It did, my master's thesis was very much so linked to Indonesia, my home country. And so I felt not only a passion for the product or for the topic, but also almost like an accountability to service my country. Because whatever knowledge that I was able to gain and have, the practical things for it to be implemented is back to Indonesia. So it has that connection. That was what was missing in my PhD. I wasn't doing any of that. And so I thought, okay, let me talk back to my previous supervisors for my master's. And that is exactly what I did. So I found a new supervisor from the Faculty of Law at QUT. And I spoke to him about, okay, how can we reshape my current PhD to something that I'm passionate about, related to Indonesia. I want to work with you because you are in that space. I want to work with my previous master's supervisor because he is in that space. And the 3 of us created a research project together that thankfully was approved by QUT. And I still got to keep my scholarship. And what do you know? I did my reconfirmation. First go, pass through.
Wow. And that's what you do at PRD Real Estate? What's your role there?
This is the part that my life is kind of so interesting, because my PhD was actually in the field of law. Mm-hmm. So I've moved from business to law, to understanding how public policy works, how it impacts people, how it impacts everybody's lives. And then I spent 2 years, Rina, 2 years of my life kind of like in limbo, trying to get a tenure at the university when there really wasn't any tenure jobs. And so I created a position for myself at the university as a research fellow in the Faculty of Law. I said to them, you know what, all I need is the name. I need your house. I need the name on my card to say that I'm a research fellow at QUT Faculty of Law. You don't have to pay me. I will do the research. I will fund myself. by doing lecturing or tutoring or whatever else, but you don't have to pay me a salary. Because what I wanted was to have that sort of like acknowledgement that I belong to an institution, because that gives me credibility, right? And it gives me a business card that has all of those details. And that springboards me to be able to create research projects with others, to apply for other jobs if I wanted to create projects, you know,
How
things
long
like
back
that.
this is?
This is 2012.
Okay.
So for about 2 years, I remember I was literally living on $50 a week.
Wow.
And that had to cover everything. Because for those 2 years, I said to them, okay, I'm going to keep on trying this academia thing, right? And see if it works. So it was 2 years where I said, just give me my position. You don't have to pay me. And so, you know, it became quite a challenging time. And so I thought, you know what? Let's see how else I can branch out. Because the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you bring a lot of soft skills in your current role that you never thought could be applied in others. My soft skill is research. It's project management. It's creating projects, seeing them through, following budgets, you know, talking to people. And so I literally said, okay, I have to look at myself that I am like water. So I fit into any jug, any mug, any glass, but all of my soft skills fit into anything. And so that's why I branched out and I sent out my applications to any industry that I could think of, where I spent hours and hours crafting every single, like, you know, the letter that you send to them, like, you know, for the criteria, the resume and the CV and all that, to say how
cover
is it,
letters,
cover letter, you know, to say how is it that my soft skills can help them as a company and can help deliver their objectives. And I was very blessed that Tony Brazier, at the time, the chairman and managing director of PRD Nationwide, at the time, now PRD Real Estate, took a chance on me.
And how long you've been there for now?
Since 2014.
6 years.
I know, and it's going to be 7 years
That's
in this
amazing.
January.
That's amazing. So your story actually makes me say that don't give up. Try every field you want to try and find your passion.
At the end of the day, Rina, a lot of people don't realize how applicable your soft skills are in different industries. And that's one of the key things that I always tell everyone, is that don't box yourself into a particular industry or a particular job. Because look at me, I'm a chief economist for a real estate company, and my background is not fully real estate. But that's what makes it special, because then my view of the real estate industry is not tainted by me trying to sell you a house at the same time.
That's correct.
Or me trying to manage your property at the same time. My view, and that's what makes our company or the research department of PRD is number one, is because there is that real lens of research to it. Whenever we put out anything like hotspot reports or where to buy or things like that, it is all based on methodology that I've created and what my team has also created as researchers.
And accurate.
And accuracy. So the reason why a lot of people trust us is they see the suburbs that we put out and there's no PRD agent in those suburbs.
Oh, wow.
Or, you know, we put out, these are, you know, our top 12 regional areas across Australia, and out of the 12, maybe 2 has PRD offices. Because it's based on pure research. It's based on methodology that we've created. And because I have an economics background, and as a chief economist, it means that I can comment on a much more wider scale. You know, not just property, but what is the government doing? What are the leaders in the community doing? What are the MPs doing? What are the banks doing? How does that impact the society as a whole? And then what's the flow-on effect to property, retail, anything? Because that's, you know, that's the job of an economist.
Wow, awesome, Asti. That's All in a gist? That's amazing. Wow.
It's quite the journey.
So inspiring.
It's quite the journey.
That's the reason whenever I have seen you, I've known you for a long time now, all in the community events, you are the one who takes the initiative and go and introduce yourself. I like that skill. The reason why I'm saying this is I tell every international student who has actually come over here, go and introduce yourself. Do not wait for the other person to ask you. You go and tell yourself because we are migrants.
And that's actually a really, really great point. So, as a female, and also as an Indonesian female and a Muslim female, we are culturally indoctrinated to look at Western societies or males or anyone with white skin, say, you know, and I'm not being racist at all here, that they are superior to us. I remember one of the reasons that my father pulled me aside and said, I want you to go into this room with me for negotiations or to this meeting with me with, you know, any government counterparts from all around the world, whether it's male, you know, male-dominated group or whether they're from Sweden, from Australia, from France, from wherever, is because you don't look at race, you don't look at gender, you don't look at ethnicity. You treat everybody as one humankind.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. What is the one thing that you would like to tell the youngsters now?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so youngsters, I think it stems from what I've just said about confidence is something that is probably one of the most attractive things that you can have within yourself. And I know that confidence takes a lot of time to cultivate. And one of the how my confidence have come apart or have come to face is that I have failed. I have failed so many times. I have closely failed to a lot of things, you know, and I've had to sort of take a step back, take stock, reevaluate, and literally get up again. And that's what gives you strength and confidence, because you know that yes, you failed at something, but you didn't stop. You actually
kept going.
You kept going. I mean, yes, I have had my, you know, on the floor, on the bathroom, crying, you know.
Those moments,
eating chocolate and cookies and thinking, oh my God, what do I do next?
Yeah.
But once you've had that moment, then it's a matter of picking yourself up and starting to strategize again.
Wow.
And that was probably one of my main thing to say to a lot of youngsters is don't be afraid of failure.
And what is the one thing that you would say not to do?
What not to do? Well, number one, don't follow the crowd, because sometimes the crowd is not always right.
Yeah.
And sometimes the crowd does not fit you. Because remember that you are a unique individual, right? And sometimes what the crowd is saying, what they're doing, what they're thinking does not actually fit you. And at the moment, there's a lot of uncertainty or, you know, people being scared of being an individual. But at the end of the day, that is what the world needs, right? And secondly, if I can have a second one, is to, yes, don't follow the crowd, but also don't ignore people's experiences and advice. Because those who have gone through things, have failed, have seen a lot of things, they would have some very good insight into how the world works. Mm-hmm. So, but it's also a matter of choosing what works for you.
Wow, fantastic. A pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rita.
Thank you. Thank you.